Sivya. And this is the second in a very short series of videos showing you how to use Microsoft Word for critiquing, for being in a critique group. In the first video, we looked at some basic ways of formatting your document in Microsoft Word so that it's ready for submission, either for a critique group or for agents if you're submitting to agents and editors. Now we're going to look at using the track changes and comments features in Microsoft Word. So let me just go ahead and share my computer screen. So here we go. This is our agenda. We're going to be looking at how to use track changes mode in Microsoft Word, and it's not too difficult and it's not too scary, and I'll explain everything step by step, and also how to use comments in Microsoft Word. And just to note here, I'm using Word 2007. Your version is going to look a little bit different, but that's okay. You still have the same features. So what we have here is, I'm continuing from the first document where I formatted this copy of Wuthering Heights. So I have this 350-page document, which is basically the text of the book, Wuthering Heights. And let's say this is a manuscript that I got from somebody in a critique group. So I want to leave my comments and suggest changes in the manuscript. So there's a couple of different ways that I can do that. The first thing that I'm going to do here, if you go up to the top, over here, the review ribbon has a feature here called track changes. So I'm just going to select this and click on track changes. Okay, now nothing changes about my view of the document. The document still looks exactly the same. But what happens is that when I make a change, instead of actually doing the change, Word is going to mark my change as a suggestion. It's not final, it's just a suggestion. So for example, I'm going to double click on the word England, and let's say I think that's a mistake. I think that the writer hasn't intended to write England for whatever reason. I'm going to change it to Denmark. Now what has happened? Ordinarily, it would have changed the word England to Denmark, but right now my change is made only as a suggestion. Okay, and I can make suggestions throughout the document. I'm going to change the word pair to team. Mr. Heathcliff and I are a suitable team. I'm going to change, let's say I'm going to add eyebrows. Okay, just one second. Down here, I'm going to change this. A nod was the answer. I'm going to change that to a nod was his answer. And you can see I can go through the whole document, and all of those changes are being saved. When I save the document, let's save this document, and we're going to call it, I like to change the name of the document if I'm saving it with changes, just to keep the original in its original form. And then also we have the new form. A couple of things to show you about track changes. If you look over here, you'll see that there's a few different ways of viewing these changes. Right now I'm looking at it, and you can see it says final showing markup. Markup are these changes that I've indicated here. Right, so this is showing that I've marked it up with the changes. Whoops. But I can also look at the final version. This is what it would look like if my changes were accepted. I can also look at the original version. This is what it looked like before I made my changes. Or original showing markup. I'm not actually sure what the difference is between original showing markup and final showing markup. I don't see a difference, so fine. So if you want to make those comments go away for a second, those markups go away for a second, you can choose final, and then you can see a clean copy of your document. The changes have not been made. The changes are still marked up as suggestions, but you can see what the final document would look like if you want to do that. Now, let's say I'm going to close this document now. I've closed it. And now I send it to my critique partner, and they look and they say, oh, okay, they look at this change and they say, wow, I really did mean Denmark. I didn't mean England. So how do you accept the changes? When there are changes in your document, you can either accept them or reject them. One way of doing that is by right-clicking, and you can just accept or reject. This is a deletion. I've deleted the word England, so I can just accept the deletion. Now, Denmark is still not final, so now I have to accept the insertion. Okay. You can also do that. I'm just going to hit Control Z to undo those changes. You can do it. Let's say I'm on here. You can go accept, and you can say accept and move to next, or just accept, which keeps you in the same place. Let's go accept and move to next, accept and move to next. So now I've done both those changes. I'm going to undo that for a second. You can also just highlight the line, accept, change, and it made the change. You don't have to do it one at a time. You could actually, I'm going to Control Z, undo. I'm going to triple click 1, 2, 3 times to highlight the paragraph. And I can just hit accept change to accept all the changes in this paragraph. Okay, so you see all those changes have now been actually made. Okay, let's undo the changes. Now let's say the author looks at this and they say, actually, I did mean England. So I don't know what this critiquer is talking about. I don't know what this editor is talking about. She's completely wrong. So we have this reject option, either reject and move to next or just reject change. We also have the reject option here when we right click with the mouse button, reject, and I'm going to reject this deletion to keep it exactly the same as it was before. So we can track changes. And when I'm finished making changes, by the way, I can turn off track changes just as easily as I turned it on. And now when I make changes, let's change England to Denmark. It's just making the change. It's not suggesting the change. The change is has actually been made to the document. So track changes is a very useful way of keeping track inside the text of noting things that you think need changing or need correcting. But sometimes when you're critiquing a manuscript, you don't want to actually make changes. You're just curious, for example, about the word choice, or let's say it's a rhyming story and the rhyme doesn't work for you, or you have a question about something else in the manuscript. So you want to leave a comment for the author. And here's how you do that. First, you highlight any text, and in fact, you don't have to, but I usually start by highlighting any text so that you can see what text the comment is going to be talking about. Now, I don't know what a waistcoat is. I'm assuming it's some sort of vest. I don't know. If you know, you can leave a note in the comments. So she's using here the word waistcoat. I think that's a silly word. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to, it's right here on the review ribbon. So if you're here, this is the formatting ribbon. Just go on over to the review ribbon. You're going to add a new comment. Here we are. And the comments, by the way, it will indicate who the author of the comment is. This is me, Sivia McLeod. It puts in the initials of the person making the comment. So I'm going to add a note here. What's a waistcoat? I think you should choose a simpler word. Okay, and you can do that throughout the document, and that comment is just staying here. And when you save the document, I just hit the save button. Actually, I did Control S, but hit the save button up there. And let's scroll here. Okay. Now see here, the word honor. So I'm not sure if the author means to use Canadian or British spelling, or if they want to use standard United States spelling. So I'm just going to, this is my standard comment that I leave here so that I let the author know that they've accidentally used the UK spelling and perhaps they want to switch that to the US spelling. Okay, we can add a couple more comments here. You can highlight this. You can actually highlight an entire paragraph, okay? And then you just add a comment using new comment. And then you can say here, this dialogue feels somewhat forced, okay? And then you save the document. I'm gonna go up here, save the document, and the comments are saved with the document. Now, I'm gonna close the document. Okay, and now let's say I'm the author and I received my document back with these changes and these corrections. So you have to pretend now that I am the author. So I received the document, I open it up at my end, and now I see all the comments, all the changes. So over here, let's say I'm going to, let's go here to the review ribbon. I'm going to accept this change. Let's accept all the changes in the paragraph. Accept change. And now I'm going to read this note that Sylvia has left for me. What's a waistcoat? I think you should choose a simpler word. Okay. What you can do is, there's a couple of different things you can do with this. If you're going to be sending it back to the person, you can add a comment of your own. You can hit new comment. And this is going to be a comment on the comment. I like this word. I'm not planning on changing it, but thanks for the suggestion. Okay. Now over here, so that's one thing. You can add a comment to a comment. Just click inside the comment and you're going to hit new comment to add a comment. Let's say instead I look at this and I really don't care about the comment, or I've already responded, I've already fixed it. You can hit delete and the comment is gone. Okay, so delete is for delete comment. We also have, I'm going to undo that. We also have the option of deleting all the comments in the document. Let's say you just went through, you fixed all the comments, you can just delete them all. When your cursor is in a comment, you can find the next comment. This is great when you have a long document with many, many, many comments. You can use the previous and next buttons to get to the next comments in the document. Oh, now this tells me that I got to the end of all the comments because there's only these 5 in the entire document. Do you want to continue from the beginning? Sure. Okay, now I'm back up here in the first comment. So what we've seen here is, we've seen a couple of different things. We've seen how to turn on and use the track changes feature in Word. And we've seen how to turn on and use comments in Microsoft Word. And by the way, if you open a document and you see this little margin off to the side, then that means that there are either changes or comments in the document. And you can get to those using either previous or next change or previous or next comment. Okay, so whenever you see that there's that little margin off to the side, it tells you that somewhere, and it might be on page 300 of 350 or whatever it is, somewhere in the document, there's a comment waiting for you to address it. Both of these features have been very, very useful to me in critique groups that I have been a part of, and also when I've been working with editors when books of mine have been in the process of publishing. So I hope that these tips will be helpful to you. If there's anything else that you want to know, leave a message in the comments.